Hi everyone, and welcome to a short little video where I have invited in one of my most beautiful clients, Cathy, just to talk a little bit to you, and of course let her talk more than anything about what it is that we're doing. What are we doing when we talk about detoxification? How do we get better? How did she find me, and how did we end up here? And why are we so passionate about living this natural, raw food, high fruits, energetic lifestyle? My name is Hilde Larsen. I'm a health and mindset coach. I'm a detox specialist. I am an author of 3 books. I'm a speaker, but most of all, I'm a life enthusiast. So welcome, Cathy. It is amazing to have you here. And
thank you.
Let's just start off by asking you how you stumbled upon me.
I am a big Dr. Morse fan, and I watch him, or listen to him at least, every day on YouTube. Wow. And one day I stumbled across you and Dr. Morse, and I didn't know who you were. And I thought, well, why is she in a video with Dr. Morse? So I thought this should be interesting. And I heard your story about being bedridden and how the doctors told you would never get better. And I felt like I really related to you. I'm thankfully was never bedridden, but I had my own health issues, which are just devastating. I feel like no matter what level, it was devastating. And when I saw you so healthy and just so full of life and so willing to share, I thought, wow, I was so inspired. And then I realized you had books, and that's pretty much where it started. I bought the very first book, and I couldn't put it down. Because it explained your emotions of how you were this independent person, a mom, a business owner, a wife, and how all that changed in time as you grew more sick, and how all of a sudden your identity was so different. And I always felt like that's what happened to me. Again, not extreme like that, but it still happened. The emotions are still there, and it's so scary because, you want to be there for your family, and you want to be, the mom of the household, and as the mom of the household, you take care of everybody in the household. But the truth is I couldn't anymore. And it was the most devastating thing. My son at the time was 3 years old. I couldn't even take him to the park because I could not keep up with him. I could not breathe. Initially I tried Western medicine, and all they did, is they labeled me with asthma, gave me inhalers. And I couldn't do it. Like, there was just something in my gut saying, what are you doing? What is this inhaler doing for you? Of course I tried it. Did I feel a difference? No. So if it's not even working, I didn't use it. I didn't know what the answer was. Eventually I went to a functional doctor thinking, okay, that's better than Western medicine. And I did get a little bit stronger, but through the use of vitamins. Yeah. And then one day I'm taking 30 vitamins a day. And I thought, well, this is a little insane. Every 6 months I'm doing blood work. And when I get that blood work back, I have more deficiencies. So I'm getting more vitamins. So when does it stop? When I'm at 100 vitamins a day? Yeah. Like, eventually my journey, and it was just so frustrating, so devastating, and not being able to walk through my house without being winded. And of course, you don't want to share that with family members because then they worry, and then they're constantly saying, are you okay? And in a way, the intention is nice, but it only makes it worse because the struggle is so real inside of you. And I remember trying to change the sheets on a bed. I would literally have to sit down and rest. Like, it would take me so long. And I would want to cry. And oftentimes I did go to sleep crying. Yeah. And so now when I change the sheets on a bed, or I make a bed, I'm on top of the world. I could do it all day long because I can do it. And I never want to forget that.
Yeah, you become grateful for the littler things, don't you?
Absolutely. Yeah. Going to the grocery store used to be such a chore because of I'd have to put my arms on the cart to help me get through the store.
Yeah.
So now that I can leave and hold my bags and get to the car, I feel, again, I am so grateful. I'm so happy. Eventually my journey led me to a detox diet, and I am so thankful and so grateful. And initially I didn't buy into it. Honestly, I mean, I was the person at the gym every day, making sure I had protein at every meal. So now I'm being told that protein's not good for you. Like it didn't make any sense. But I thought, what have I got to lose? You know, at one point I was in a nebulizer 3 times a day just to breathe.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful that's years behind me. I'm going to say within 2 weeks of just fruits and vegetables and herbs, I started to get my quality of life back.
Yeah.
I could walk through the house, and I couldn't believe it. I had more energy than I had had in years.
Yeah.
And I had aches and pains. You know, I did go through healing crises. But it was a little scary because I didn't quite understand it. But I was okay with it because I knew whatever it was, I was still feeling better. Okay, this might hurt, but I'm still feeling better.
Exactly.
So then I just kind of finished that detox, and then I was still trying to figure it all out. And as I read your books, I thought, wow, you know, here's somebody who truly went through it from, you know, 8 years of being bedridden. I thought, she's got to have a point of view that I don't know yet, you know, like I really want to learn. So I remember reaching out, and it was kind of scary, but exciting.
Yeah.
And then I learned so much from you. Different levels of detoxing, because of course my first detox was amazing because I came from a sad diet.
Yeah.
But by the time I found you, I was now raw vegan.
Yeah.
And you know, the things I was trying to heal, it was taking a while. And I thought, okay, that's okay. I'm not discouraged. I'm on the right path. But on the same hand, when it takes a while, sometimes it can get a little frustrating.
Of course. And sometimes
everyone's different.
It's a little bit of tweaking, you know, to get into what's the underlying. I just want to tell everybody that's watching that what Cathy experienced is, and you might not know this, but your asthma, your breath, is actually your adrenals. Mm-hmm. So what she was experiencing was very low adrenals, very low functioning or clogged up, sloppy, sleepy adrenals. So what we think is initially a lung problem really isn't. It's your adrenals. They don't fire up that spark that the lung needs. Now, if you go more into the COPD, and that type of, we're talking tissue degeneration in the lungs, that's different. But the breathing in itself, that's adrenals. And that's what I saw when you came to me and what you had experienced, because I wrote down, she has a lot of nerve rings. I mean, your eyes were clearly showing very low adrenals, and your symptoms, you know, from having lived that. Yes.
Right. And that is what I did. I went to a pulmonologist. I did chest x-rays. I go year after year. And the doctor would be like, I understand you're not feeling well, but I don't see anything. And I was so happy I didn't see anything because that was like the scariest thing.
Of course.
And I remember my last appointment with him, I said to him, I said, I'm not going to come back. I said, at the time I was vegan. I wasn't raw vegan yet. I said, I finally figured out by changing my diet that I can breathe a lot better.
Yeah.
And that doctor was very nice and just said, I wish more of my patients did the same thing. And
you were probably saving your life right there. You were saving your life right there. Because that's another thing, people. The protein will literally kill your kidneys. And the adrenals sitting on top of your kidneys, controlling the kidney filtration, meaning lymphatic waste removal from the body. I mean, even in the medical industry, we're not going to talk about here. If you go on dialysis, the first thing they'll tell you is lay off the protein. So,
wow.
Yes, the first thing they'll tell any on dialysis, they prohibit it from taking in any protein. That should make people think. But the revelation that, that we can take from this as well is not only the low adrenals, but that you actually probably saved yourself by slowing down and going off of the protein so that you're saving your kidneys. Because any inhaler, we're all talking, there are a lot of steroids in them, cortisol. And these things are really hurting the kidneys as well.
Oh.
Like prednisone, but again, we're not going to talk about the medications, but just to get like a larger picture of what's going on in the body and what was going on in your body. I love your story because you were probably, and you have been, when I saw you, you're this energetic woman and you're so beautiful. And I can just imagine that the people around you probably had no idea to the extent of how bad you felt in your body. And that is what a strong woman does today. Now, we need to also find the strength that you did to take back the power within ourselves and to allow ourselves to heal,
Right.
Yeah.
And I remember working with you. It was the first time ever I went all fruit.
Yeah.
And initially it was great, like I never felt such energy. I would drink 32 ounces of orange juice, fresh squeezed.
Yeah.
And then I'd want to clean my house. I had so much energy, and I almost felt like, way back when, if I would have some alcohol and I was just like really happy and energetic, that's how I felt. And, then as time went by, I started to get these, like a healing crisis, things happening. And it was just it was difficult. I thought, oh my God, it's happening. And, like it didn't feel good.
Yeah.
I went through fevers and I understood what was happening to me. Yeah. And looking back, I'm thinking, wow, I did so great.
You did great. And I told you that too. And that's why it can be very important to have some support, because it can be really scary at times. You know, the toxins are leaving. Because like you said, even though you feel better and better in a sense, and that major symptoms are diminishing, we're going to go through the healing crisis. We're all going to go through, because we're not only talking about the body raising fevers to get rid of parasites and fungus and amoebas and critters. We're talking about mucus leaving. It could be anything from diarrhea to constipation. It could be fatigue. And that's when it can get scary. I want to ask you, did you ever experience that some of your symptoms that you wanted to get rid of, if they felt like they were flaring up or coming back? How was your experience with the healing crisis? Maybe people want to know.
Basically, I started coughing a lot.
Yeah.
And, like the year before I got really, really sick, I had pneumonia like twice that year. I had bronchitis. So during my healing crisis, not only did I have a fever and aches and pains, I was coughing a lot. And it was like I was sick again.
Yeah.
But I knew I wasn't.
Yeah. So you knew because you had educated yourself and you were working with me so you knew this. And this is what I want to get out there as well. People, you need to educate yourself. Either you work with someone like me or someone else, or you educate yourself, because it takes a little bit of knowledge and trust and faith to go through that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I also experienced shortness of breath once again.
Yeah.
And it was funny because it didn't scare me as much as it did the other times. Yeah. But I remember thinking, oh God, I hated this so much.
Yeah.
And here it is again, but I knew it was a way of cleaning myself.
Yeah.
But the shortness of breath, I'm like, oh God, here we go again. And I know in it like a minute, I'm going to catch my breath again. But it's really a crazy feeling.
Yeah.
I remember driving my car with my arms over the steering wheel, just trying to catch my breath.
Oh my God.
Before getting well. And it was just the scariest thing. So that was another thing I experienced during my healing crisis.
Yeah.
At one point I went to a functional doctor and got a lot of IVs, like vitamin C IVs.
Yeah.
So my arm, which typically got the IV, was burning.
Wow.
And and at first I thought, I don't remember ever hurting this arm. Like I did not make the connection. And then suddenly I remember that's my IV arm. I tried to switch off, but this vein was better and it was burning. And that went on for weeks, you know, but I figured the toxins coming out. It was ascorbic acid. It's coming out.
Yeah. Because you went that route first, right? You followed the kind of putting in a pill. You just went from having one type of pill into the more natural type, thinking you needed to correct a lack of something. You needed to put something in that would make your body feel better. And that, I think, you know, a lot of people have taken that route, me included. I mean, you should see my closet. I probably kept that health food store on the corner alive for years, you know, popping so many vitamins and minerals. But really, all the body needs is to get the crap out. You know?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you see a turning point with that? Did you feel when you upped the fruits again? Just tell us a little bit about how you feel today, because it's a long road, and it's not like you just snap out of it and then you're all the way healthy. But I want this kind of talk to be about what you were sold and what your faith is in, and how your life has changed for the better. Because I believe actually that we're going to walk this path probably for the rest of our lives. You know, when we've been into some deep imbalances, and then we're living in this very toxic world. So it's not like we snap out of it and then we're home free. I don't believe that. I see it within myself. Like right now, I'm on day 43, I think, of just juices. And
that's so great.
Things are moving within my body. There's no doubt about it. There's more to write about. There's more stories to tell. Even after being just fruits for 6 years, being raw for 12, there is more to tell. And I think we're constantly trying to balance within everything from chemtrails to toxins. People walk by and they have perfume on. You know, there's so many things you start noticing when you really get cleaner. Like try sitting in a car and they put the window shield cleaner thing on. It's like, I can't do. I have my hubby, when we go on the road trips, I have my hubby go in and out of gas stations to wash the windshield and then go back on. I just can't even have that fume hit me because I feel the toxins right away. So no doubt we're living in a very toxic, you know, environment that can be challenging. But what I do see is we have a different resilience. You know, yes, we might notice that it's not good for us, but we don't get weaker. We don't get more sensitive. I don't like the word sensitive. It has like a weakness connotation to it. We get more empowered so we can feel more what's right, what's natural, and what isn't. Yeah. So how has it been for you living like this? And then how has your life changed? Obviously, you know, like you've been telling us, but is there anything you want to close up with?
I think the best way to put it is I live so much more consciously, not just for myself, but for my family. Like you said about all the environmental toxins, I notice them big time. I mean, I get annoyed if someone's sitting in their car parked and have the car on. I'm like, shut it off. But I definitely would say it's living consciously. It's not about what's convenient. It's being prepared. You know, always making sure there's fruit in the house, always making sure if we're going out for the day, I have enough fruit packed for everybody. I mean, that's really life-changing, and it takes time to develop those habits. And I learned so much when I detoxed with you. I learned how to detox at a deeper level. I learned that emotionally, when you're detoxing, emotions come up that haven't come up in years. And that's really challenging because now they're coming up, and guess what? You still don't want to deal with them. But you're at a much higher vibration. So the awareness is there, and the awareness is like, no, this has to be dealt with because obviously it's not going away. It's still here.
Carry it. You just can't carry it. It has to give. Something has to give.
Right. And I think that's one thing that all fruit does is it does raise your vibration. It does, you know, your awareness. And as you detox emotionally, these are things that is, you know, the mind, you have to deal with it since the mind, the body, the spirit is all connected. it has to flow. You can't ignore it anymore. And that's what going with all fruit helps you do.
And I love the word that you used about flow, because that's the whole thing is about letting go of the obstruction. And the first obstruction will be the pineal gland and everything within your body, because we're storing the emotions and the patterns within the physical as well. And once you start loosening that up, everybody will start loosening up, like the emotional body, the mental body, the spiritual body, all of it. And I am so glad that you touched upon that at the end, because in my membership group, and in all my courses, and that's why I call myself a health and mindset coach, because no matter who I talk to, there's always something there. And people say, well, every dis-ease or every sickness or every imbalance starts with an emotion, and I actually agree. Even though it looks like we're just hitting the fruits and hitting herbs and essential oils and grounding, water, we're using cold, we're meditating, we're using all of these tools that we have. It leads us back to releasing the emotional imprint that has been making our life stressful, that has been slamming down those adrenals, that have started this whole series of events to happen. And just doing the fruits, like you said, it just starts unlocking that whole chain. Yeah. And
it's hard. Like the longer I went, it got to be more challenging. And it was really hard. And like you said, you need support.
Yeah.
Because most people are not on board with what you're doing. They kind of think like, what is this person doing? Why isn't she eating anything other than fruit? She's a little crazy. But they don't understand that your awareness is so much more than that. So when you're struggling, I never doubted what I was doing, but it was hard to do. So having the support makes all the difference. Like I remember once it was Christmas time and I called you and I had a salad and you're like, well, you know what? You're human, and it's the holidays and you have the stress of the holidays and it made me feel so much better. Instead of beating myself up, I felt so much better to have someone who understood, someone who had been there and lived it, and
And that's another thing. We always have to we have to work at where you're at. I mean, you're this driven, strong, amazing woman that could just dive in, knew what she was doing. You knew a lot of things. But then other people who are watching might get scared from even that thought. And to you, I have to say, we always start from where you're at, So it's not like you come to me and then, we go 100% fruit or you're out. We always go to something sustainable first, and it might not even be raw in the very beginning. We're just going to take it in the pace and, we're going to move forward in this, also the strength and the deepness of detoxification that your body, is showing me during our consultation. When I look at your health history that you fill out a form for me, and I look at your eyes and I talk to you, I know you. I know where you're at. I can see your body. And that's where we start. Because pushing too hard in the beginning, if you're not going to eliminate and you're just going to recirculate a lot of toxins, not only it's going to, scare the shit out of you, it's not going to do you any good. So I really like the idea that detoxification is an art. You have to know when to hold them, you have to know when to fold them, and you have to know when to not be Mrs. Perfect over everything. And some women, and I have to tell you, it's always the strongest women. It is always the women with actually the strongest genes. Now, isn't that interesting? The stronger genes that I see, the more determination I see. You know why? Because if you have very strong genes, you can keep bombarding your body with crap for longer before, and actually it almost looks like you can do anything you want and you can't kill you. I can make you very, life can make you miserable as heck, but you won't die because your genes are so strong. And that can be not a positive, because a strong woman will take advantage of that and just keep on pushing and pushing and pushing and just never lay down. And that's what I did. I wasn't listening to my inner voice. I wasn't listening to the whisper that became loud, that became, we're going to knock her unconscious because she's just not going to listen. So that's why I see a lot of, you know, correlation between strength in the I and strength as a personality. And that determination and strength is what we can turn around and use towards healing. And that's what you did. And I mean, what an example to set for the boy, first of all. Bravo.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to add, Cathy?
No, just thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. This is amazing. I hope that everybody enjoyed speaking to me and beautiful Cathy. And I want to let you know that if you want to reach me and work with me, you can go to my website, InspiredByHilde.com. You can also read the links that I'm going to post below this video. Okay? Namaste, everyone, and good health.
Namaste.